Hey everyone. This this episode was recorded a couple weeks ago. The one you're about to listen to. But this past weekend we had the unfortunate news that Chadwick Boseman, who you may know from Black Panther or 42 or Da 5 Bloods, he passed away at 43 from cancer, and just didn't feel right to kind of make a podcast that talks like almost entirely about superhero movies this week and just not address it. And yeah, so we just kind of wanted to like talk a little bit about it and kind of how much it sucks really.
Yeah, it was just one of those incredibly shocking things. Like I was just hanging out and I forget how. I think it was I read the group chat we have with our friends, and like I just saw the word Chadwick Boseman and I'm like, what's going on? And it was just so shocking. Like there's no other way to put it. Like that was just like one of the last things I was expecting. But it was, yeah, like I know he means so much to so many people, and I think you're right that it wouldn't feel right to go without not talking about this because it's it's such
It changed the
big news.
game.
It literally like wow,
Like,
he's not gonna be here anymore.
Yeah, his Black Panther, like those movies, and not just Black Panther, but everything he's done, but specifically Black Panther was such a huge step in representation, and like really the first big $1 billion movie with an almost entirely black cast.
Yeah, I think it is literally like the first $1 billion movie with a solely black cast.
Yeah, and after that, I think studios really went, oh, like people want this. This will make money. It's not like the 50s anymore where we're like afraid to put anyone on television that's not a white dude. And it was really sad because I think this one hit me a lot more than other celebrity deaths because it was like there was so much more for him. Aside from the Marvel movies.
Yeah, he was just in Da 5 Bloods. Right, like literally just in that.
Yeah, and he was honestly my favorite part of that.
I would agree. I think he was probably the best part.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him in anything where I thought he was bad, even though I don't love some of the movies he's been in, like Da 5 Bloods, or like I said, he was always just seemed like a nice guy, and was obviously a nice guy in real life.
Mm-hmm. He was always like, I will say though, he was like pretty much always a standout in whatever movie he was in.
Mm-hmm. Like Civil War, that when he showed up for the first time as Black Panther, and that totally changed the game, and it was like, wow, this dude's fucking cool. We've never seen this before, but like immediately audiences were like, oh, this is a cool character. I like this a lot. And I think an even bigger part is like he had stage 3 and stage 4 cancer while he was doing all this.
Yeah,
which is so like impressive.
Like literally, like, he literally plays a hero, but there's nothing as heroic as doing what he did.
Yeah, like he was visiting kids with cancer in the hospital while he had cancer, and the fact that he would, go through all that just to film these, stupid Marvel movies for people like you and me to enjoy is like super impressive. And he obviously cared very deeply about the character of Black Panther and of the other roles like Jackie Robinson and stuff like that. So it's really unfortunate, especially it was just super shocking. I literally like was so upset over it because it was just so out of nowhere.
Yeah, it literally felt like the world like stopped for like a few hours. Like when it first happened, it was like, what? Like that just can't be real. Like I don't know. I literally thought it was like a joke. I didn't think it could possibly be real.
No, I did too. It was terrible. But like, as in this episode that's about to start, we're gonna talk about Spider-Verse. Yeah, just wanted to like kind of talk about that because it really sucks, And he was a really great actor, and he had a lot that was coming down the pipeline, and it's unfortunate that we'll never get to see it. And I just, I think he's gonna be a household name forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious, but also excited to see what they do in Black Panther 2, because I know there will 100% be something for him, and I think it's gonna get everybody. It'll be really like upsetting, but also really nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, like, who knows what Marvel will do with Black Panther 2? I don't think that's the concern right now because
of course,
it's just such.
That's probably the last thing that's on their mind.
News. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's on the investors' minds, but it shouldn't be, But yeah, I mean, terrible, shitty news, but like it also did kind of have like a silver lining of making people realize that you never really know what people are fucking going through. The fact that he did that the whole time, had cancer, and you would never know it. It's amazing.
Absolutely, he was something else. But yeah, I think it goes without saying that he was a really great actor and also a great person, and it's really terrible what happened. But anyways, do you have any closing thoughts about this?
No, I think I said it all.
Yeah.
But I think you and I will definitely miss him. This was also, just ironically, Tommy, Black Panther was the first movie you and I ever saw together.
Oh yeah, it was. You're right.
And so it's just an extra little strange element on top of it. But yeah, I'm gonna miss it, and it's a huge, huge shame, and it was really, really upsetting news. But yeah. On that note, enjoy us talking about Spiderverse and Joker for a little while, because that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Check it out, Tommy. I got an actual official looking notebook now.
Ooh, I have some notes on my phone. I should get a notebook.
Okay, it's so much better than I had computer paper.
Is he?
No, you can't look at my notes. What the fuck?
I'm sorry. I mean,
I shouldn't have said yes. That's my fault. Tommy, it's a superhero special.
Yeah, it is a superhero special.
Finally, we've been talking about too many real movies for my taste, personally.
Well, you could make the argument that there's a receipt in my pocket. You can make the argument that Indiana Jones isn't like real movie.
That is not a superhero movie.
Well, it's closer. If you're thinking about movies, I would say Indiana Jones and like Star Wars are closer to superhero movies than they are to like other movies.
Art house shit.
Like cinema, like that is Quentin Tarantino.
Well, regardless, Tommy, we're talking about two superhero movies today. Yeah. It's the first time we're talking about any superhero. Well, actually, when this comes out, we'll have already talked about Shazam. How was all that superhero news? It was crazy, wasn't it?
Hell yeah, probably.
Yeah, it probably was crazy. So we're talking about what are we talking about? Spider-Verse?
Talking about Spider-Verse and Joker.
We're talking about Joker.
Joker. I hardly know her.
We're talking about probably the most different superhero movies you could possibly get.
I watched them back to back the other night. And yeah, they were incredibly different. And then we both have, different takes. I mean, we have pretty much the same take on both.
Yeah, honestly.
Similar.
So let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about Spider-Verse. We're gonna do no spoilers.
No spoilers?
No spoilers at first, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay.
I'll put the timestamps in the description. Right. So, Tom, you've never seen this movie?
No, I had it on my Netflix watch list for super long, and I don't know. I was like, I can't say that it looked too interesting from my outside perspective.
Yeah.
All I knew was that like a lot of people liked it, and that was like cool and all. But I will say, from like just looking at it, from like hearing about it, whatever, I wasn't really interested in watching it. It was pretty much just other people were recommending it so hard, which is the only reason I watched it. I probably would have never watched it if nobody recommended it. But that being said, super glad, very very happy I watched it.
Right, you gave this very very high praise.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I mean, it's my highest ranked superhero movie. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's really great.
So, yeah, I think this was the biggest surprise to come out of 2018 because before this, Sony Pictures Animation had only done the Emoji Movie and Boss Baby, I think.
Yeah, so two masterpieces.
Two masterpieces of cinema. So actually, I was I was not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually underwhelmed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The first trailer came out, and I remember I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be something special," you know, because it was like that really fresh animation style that looks.
Yeah, the animation is great.
Yeah.
It's the art style is amazing. I really liked the scenes where, the comic book blurb would come up.
Oh yeah, like in the corner where it was
he was like talking in his head,
and he's like, "Why are all my thoughts so loud?"
Yeah, it's like, "Why is it my hand sticking and everything?" And it's like that's really cool. I love that.
So yeah, I have a bunch of notes here. So what I'm gonna talk about first, I really love the decision that they made to do the my name is Peter Parker and I've been Spider-Man for however many years, and they did it for all of them.
I love how I think when I turned this movie on, I was initially like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Spider-Man's cool, but I can't think of any Spider-Man movie I even like. And then the moment where they did the animation of the Spider-Man 3 thing, where the terrible, the best scene in cinema history.
It is.
When they redid that, and he's like, "I'm not proud of that." I thought that was really funny. I thought that was like really funny. And that's like the moment I knew, like, okay, I think I'm in for something good.
Yeah, I think this movie also, like, it's a celebration of like everything Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
When watching it, I was thinking, like, I bet Michael really liked this movie because I know you're like big into comic books, and it's just such a celebration of Spider-Man comics.
Not only comics, but you had references to Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire movies. You had some references to the newer movies, and you had a ton of references to the comic books, especially when Noir and Spider-Ham and all that stuff comes in, because they all have actual counterparts.
Were all those people who like came in like from the alternate dimensions? Were they all like even like the girl with the big
Penny Parker? Yes, I think so.
Wow.
I'm gonna sound stupid if she's not, but I'm pretty sure she is. But so that's another thing, right? Like, Spider-Verse was this kind of comic storyline that's been around for a couple of years, and it was the first time where it was like, oh, all these alternate dimension Spider-Men meet each other or whatever. And so I was never like huge on it as a storyline.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought it was like just fine, but it was like kind of just like a mid-tier whatever thing. So when I heard that they were making a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie, I was like, oh, sick. Like, we haven't seen Miles in a movie yet, but then they said it was a Spider-Verse movie, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, are they going to overshadow the introduction of Miles by, taking all these Spider-Men from different universes and being like, look at this one. But, like, I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah, Miles, like, really shines.
He really does.
He's definitely one of, like, the better protagonists I've seen in a movie. He super develops. It's not like he's this, outcast kid that sometimes movies make their protagonists out to be, so they can develop them and, like, make them into a better person at the end. He's still, like, a nice kid.
Right.
But he's just, like, he still has such, like, great development in the entire story, and by the end you can see it. It's, like, it's really good.
And not, like, I think a lot of that's down to the voice acting, which across the board I felt like was
There's not a single bad voice actor,
No.
and also, like, not a single bad character in the movie. I can't think of, like, any character There's like a few that like a little bit underwhelming, but
I have a
many bad
couple
ones.
thoughts on that when we get into spoilers,
Yeah.
but I think Shameik Moore as Miles,
Yeah.
like I would have thought he was 15. The way his
way.
voice comes through with Miles, and Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, the voice actors were just great.
Which also, just such a fun fucking idea to have Peter Parker just be this beat up, like,
old.
Old, tired of shit.
He's kind of like the Thor from.
No, yeah, exactly. He's fucking like. I really liked. I thought that was such a fun way to do it because, like, especially recently, we got 3 different Spider-Men in the span of 3 years. Or not 3 years. I meant to say 10 years.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and then Tom Holland.
Miles.
Now Miles, but I'm saying I was pretty fucking sick of high school Peter Parker by this point because we'd seen him 3 times, and just to finally have Peter Parker be grown up and be in this mentor role where it's not just him teaching.
Oh yeah. I said. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Miles isn't Peter Parker. It's Peter. Yeah. No, he was actually like a really good mentor because he's like an adult.
But Miles is like as much of a mentor to him as he is to Miles.
Yeah. I felt like I didn't really feel that way. I mean, I could see it a little bit. I think Peter. He's from the other Peter B. Parker. He's Amazing Spider-Man. That's where he's from, right?
No, he's just from.
He's just this random.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess
So the all right, sorry, continue.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I thought I don't know. I just felt like in most of the movie, like Miles was learning a lot from Peter. He also learned a lot on his own, but I felt like Peter was surprised with how much Miles grew, but I don't know if Miles was as much of a mentor to him.
Well, the reason I say that is because Miles is the one who kind of teaches Peter again the lessons he already learned a long time ago. Like, Miles is the one who's constantly beating over the head with great power comes great responsibility, and kind of reminding him Spider-Man is supposed to be this, and this, and not this beat up, old, tired man.
And it's funny because they do that so well because, like, that's something a kid would say if he became Spider-Man.
Right.
That's something that, like, is just such a natural.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The script was great. It felt not like forced at all.
Right.
It felt very natural, which I really liked.
Yeah. Just we talked about the voice acting, but like the characters themselves, Miles, Gwen, and Peter B. especially.
Yeah. What a trifecta.
Like, I think I really like. So, do you know anything about like Spider Gwen or any of her kind of background?
I know.
Do you know who Gwen Stacy is?
I know.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. So that she's a more recent kind of character that spawned in the comic books, and I don't know. I like Gwen Stacy was never as interesting as Haley Steinfeld makes her in Spider-Verse. I think
really?
They did like a really no, she is like interesting, and she's like a drummer, and there's like this pink and blue kind of color palette with all of her comic books and stuff. But I really just I don't know. It was really I liked her a lot more than I expected to going into this movie, because I expected it to really be the Miles and Peter movie, but I think Gwen's a really good character too.
Yeah, no, she's great. I can't think of many. I mean, I remember a lot of scenes with her, but I remember like her whole plot line that much.
Yeah.
It's a bit forgettable, I think, but that's not a bad thing. I think it's just there's so many positives that like probably overshadow her as a character. But I mean, she's still a great fit in it.
Right. But okay, yeah. So kind of what I'm getting at is like, it's not only is it a good introductionary story for people who aren't familiar with Miles, but it's also just a good story for Peter as well.
It's a great story for everybody.
Right?
For anybody who like wants to be interested in Spider-Man, it's like a great.
And I think if you like Spider-Man or you like superheroes at all, I can't see you not liking this movie.
Yeah.
Because I really think you'd have to be trying to be upset with any of the things that go on. Like, I have some very minor problems.
Yeah, me too.
But it's just it's so fun. It's so, like, the editing and like, the whole movie just has, like, so much rhythm. You know, it's like, I'm thinking about the part where he's, like, going through, like, he's going through high school after he's, like, right at the beginning of the movie, he's, like, walking through high school and people are telling him his shoes untied. He's like, yeah, I'm aware. And there's, like, just these musical beats after, like, every line of dialogue.
It's just really charming.
Mm-hmm.
Just the entire thing. Like, the animation style, what you were talking about, the beats.
By Dre.
Yeah. It was really funny, too. That was also the thing. It was, like, really funny. I remember he goes to the... I mean, yeah. Oh, this kind of spoiled, but I won't go into it. He goes to that place, and then the cop is like, yeah, we're gonna need backup. There's a kid carrying a lifeless corpse. That was really funny. And what John Mulaney as
Spider-Ham.
He was so funny.
I think Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir was even funnier. He's like,
they were both really funny.
Like, matches burned down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
Yeah, he has the Rubik's Cube. What is this? Is it purple? No. Is it green? That's really funny.
So you've seen a good amount of superhero movies.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen more
I'd
than
say
the
you
average
probably like more than you dislike.
Yeah.
You know? But you're not like me. You're not just like a shill.
Yeah, I'm not I don't shill.
I shill.
I try to give credit where it's due, but I will say I think a lot of superhero movies fall flat because they care about just making money. And I think a lot of them are just like, you know what, this is going to be a big movie because people like superheroes, so we can just make it a pretty bland storyline. Maybe we could add some stuff here and there, just, spice it up. But we know that we're going to make money from this, so we don't even want to
I think that's also
build
like,
any personality.
That's also why this movie was such a shock, because like,
it has so much
when you hear that not even Disney Marvel, but Sony Marvel is going to be making a animated Spider-Man movie, and it's coming from the studio that made the Emoji Movie, you're like, oh, this is just going to be pumped out, like, cheap, kind of whatever.
You're like, hide the kids.
And especially because, like, Sony, this was right off the bat, Sony had literally just released Venom, which is not a movie I like, and their last two efforts with Spider-Man were Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, which were not well received. I liked the first one.
I never saw them. Just didn't care.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
I liked the first one a lot, but...
You're wearing a Spider-Man shirt. That's funny.
Yeah, dude, I'm celebrating.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about superheroes. This is my shit. But, so Spider-Verse was such a... Not only a surprise, but, like... It won Best Animated Feature, and I don't think there's any movie that came out that year that would even come close
what were
to
the other... Do you know what the other... I'll look up the other...
So there was Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Didn't see.
What?
Didn't see.
Incredibles 2. And a couple other ones. Which, even from those three, like, normally Disney or Pixar cleans up at the Best Picture, or Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, I mean, Pixar is pretty great, but,
Right, but recently, I think, especially their sequels have been not to the same standard as their original kind of stuff. Like, Coco and Inside Out and that kind of stuff is way better than their, Monsters Universities and their Incredibles 2.
Coco is...
Pixar.
Pixar? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to try to look up the other nominees. It was 2018, you said?
Yep.
Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs.
Okay, yeah.
Mirai?
Probably Ghibli or something.
No, I don't think Ghibli. Maybe it... well, kind of looks like it. Studio Chizu. It's a Japanese movie. Kind of looks like Ghibli art.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit.
So is that it?
That's it.
And Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it was a hotly contested year.
No.
Incredibles 2 was, like, fine.
But remember, back in like, animated movies get snubbed all the time. I think in
really do.
In 2014, I don't remember what won. Can you look up the winner? But what lost, Lego Movie didn't even get nominated.
Big Hero 6 won.
Okay, Big Hero 6 won, and Lego Movie didn't even get nominated, and How to Train Your Dragon 2 didn't win, but that was nominated. And I think both of those two movies are easily better than Big Hero 6.
And like in 2013, Frozen won because it was like the big movie.
Right.
It was like fine, but...
And in 2012, Brave won.
Oh, yeah.
Brave is also the worst fucking Pixar movie, in my opinion.
To be fair, the other ones... Oh, Wreck-It Ralph. That's a good
Wreck-It
one.
Ralph's great.
I never saw
But that might be personal.
Never saw it. Toy Story 3. Yeah, there's decent amount of good ones. You know what else won? Best animated film?
What?
Spirited Away.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of movies that straight up aren't nominated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking here. There's a few Ghibli movies, like Wind Rises. I heard people really like the movie, The Wind Rises. But anyways, back to Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. Should we go into spoilers, or should we keep it for a couple more minutes?
I got two more thoughts that are
go for it.
non-spoilery. The soundtrack and the score, I think, work perfectly.
Really great.
Especially like the theme with Prowler.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
Right.
It was like the Jaws. It was like the
like
Jaws theme. It was like,
yeah.
that was actually incredible. I remember thinking about that. I'm like, wow, this is so sick.
And so we like the onomatopoeia. Like when the one I think of is when Miles' spider sense goes off for the first time. It says "Look out" behind him.
Oh,
Stuff like that, where you see like the words written on screen. It's done a few times where like he throws the bagel and it says "bagel" as it hits someone. I love that shit. I love
It was
like
really great.
it's kind of Scott Pilgrim-y, that kind of.
Yeah, it is a bit Scott Pilgrim-y.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, so I guess to start out, my biggest complaint. It's not even that big of a complaint, but probably the one that like made me the most confused is why was the uncle a bad guy?
Well, he works for Fisk,
Who's Fisk?
the Kingpin.
But why?
What do you mean why?
They didn't really explain why. Like, shouldn't he? If the uncle is a bad guy, what's his name?
Aaron, Uncle Aaron.
No, the bad person that he's.
Kingpin. Well,
No, what's his alter ego? What's the
the Prowler.
Prowler. Why did he decide I must be a bad guy to take down Spider? Like, what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I don't think he didn't become a bad guy to take down Spider-Man. He became a bad guy just for money.
Yeah, I just wish they explained that because I remember seeing.
At the beginning they say something like your uncle's a bad influence. I don't like that you're always hanging out with him because he's already a criminal.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it could have been explained a bit better. I loved the twist. I did not see it coming at all. Like when it happened, when he took off his mask, I'm like, yes, that's so sick. And also I didn't see it coming. But when his uncle got
shot. You can say it now.
Yeah, when he got dumped, I was a bit like, I just thought, well, why was he a bad guy in the first place? They didn't really go into it that much. Which I'm like, whatever. The twist was still better.
Yeah.
Than the fact that like the twist.
I think that's a problem with me when I go into movies like this. Is like, I already knew Aaron Davis was the Prowler. Like I knew his uncle was already the Prowler because of comic books and stuff. So like, I don't get that same effect. But I mean, it's still like the way it's done when he turns around and he looks where Miles was and Miles is invisible. Like I think that was really well done, and obviously when I was in the theater, like the general audience was like,
yeah,
you know,
that's literally how I was.
Because like it's a short movie, you know, but even the little amount of time that Miles and Aaron are on screen together before Miles is bit, you're so endeared to them, and you
can tell that they're like
you
really,
totally
really
get
close.
why Miles gravitates towards Aaron instead of his dad.
Yeah, his dad's a bit like not harsh, but he really wants him to go a certain path.
Yep.
And Miles just kind of wants to be a kid,
right,
and have fun. And I really like that because that was like established. That's a pretty like deep thing to establish in a movie, but they did that so quickly and so well.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
One sec. We're still in the shed and it's still fucking hot in here.
Yeah. A little bit of pit stains.
Oh yeah.
I'm
It's hot.
sweating like a dog.
It's hot out there. So yeah, okay, so alright, so let me get into my 2 complaints with this movie. Which are not a big deal and they really don't detract from it much at all. But I don't think Penny and Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir are there for any reason.
Yeah, they really could have just not been in the movie and nothing would have been different.
Right, and I think, they're funny. I mean, Penny is not that funny, but...
They kind of just kill off... I felt like they killed off her robot or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to give her character a bit more depth.
Right.
And I'm like, alright, that's cool, but like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and while they were funny, and while I like that we were able to see them in the movie, I don't know, they don't really, they're just underused, I guess, is the best word for it.
Yeah, I think what's good is, though, they're there for comedic effect.
Get closer to the mic, King.
They're there for comedic effect.
No, I didn't mean like that. You're way
I
back
know,
here.
I know. Sorry, Dad.
My other complaint, I just think the villains are pretty
I actually wrote that down too. I said villains could have been better. I wish Kingpin's backstory was explored a little further.
Mm-hmm.
They just showed like a very brief clip where his family saw him punching Spider-Man, and then they're like, "Oh," and then they left and died.
I mean, I get the idea there is that they didn't know he was like an organized crime boss.
Yeah.
They thought he'd need his money otherwise, but yeah, I agree. I think Kingpin is a villain. You wouldn't know this, but is a villain that's been done so well in other media, especially the Daredevil TV show, which if you like Marvel and you haven't seen that, you should check that out because it's probably some of the best Marvel content out there. But I just felt like he was not interesting as the main antagonist as much. Like I like his motivations. I think it's a good way to
Spider-Man because he like took everything from him.
Right.
But also, I mean, it was also his fault.
But I mean also like the reason he wants to open the dimensional border thing is to bring his family back, which is a valid thing or a good reason for the villain to like exist or whatever. But I don't know. And also there's other villains in it. There's Scorpion is in it.
I felt like Doc Ock wasn't all that great.
I did like that she was Doc Ock though.
Yeah, that was a cool too. She's like, "Oh yeah, me.
She was like,
I'm an octopus."
She was like, "No. My enemies call me Doc Ock. My friends call me Liv," or something like that.
Yeah.
She was. What?
I know something along the lines like, "I'm an octopus."
I'm an octopus. But I don't know. I'm not one who cares when they fucking gender swap a character like that.
No, I thought it was cool.
Especially in a movie like this.
I also I'm not super invested in superhero movies, so I didn't. I thought that Doc Ock was a guy, but I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just was like, huh. All right, cool. And then that was just it.
Right. But also some more like comic book nitpicks. Like Green Goblin is a henchman of.
Oh yeah, wasn't Green Goblin like the giant thing?
Yeah, which is
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's a kind of a newer thing in the Ultimate Comics. He's a big hulking goblin beast, but it's still weird that he would be Wilson Fisk's lackey when he's really Spider-Man's like arch nemesis, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a nitpick. I just what I mean to say is like it's a celebration of all things Spider-Man, you know. But I feel like Spider-Man has some of the best villains in the game next to Batman, and in this movie, they just aren't. They don't do all that much, and it's kind of disappointing. But
yeah,
you know,
they're not terrible. They're just like meh.
Yeah, but you know, it really does not detract from the experience that much at all because it's
agree.
not about.
It's not about the villains.
No, it's not. Unlike the next movie we're gonna talk about.
Yeah. Which is Society.
The villain is Society.
I guess my other complaint is that not a complaint, but it's just a thing I noticed, and I mentioned this to you yesterday. It seems like the frame rate like drops in some sections, and it didn't seem intentional. It seemed like just something that they're like, they forgot to fix.
So you were
I guess
also,
it was intentional, but it just seemed
hold
like
on.
it was a mistake.
So first of all, you were watching this on Netflix. So
I was watching this on Netflix.
it could have actually been.
It could have
frame
just
rate
been that. But then I watched like Jeremy Johns talk about it, and he said the same exact thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Okay. But I think some of it is intentional. But yes, sometimes it also took a minute for me to get used to the animation style in the very beginning.
See this shirt?
It's on your wrist.
Gus licked me.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Tommy's allergic to dogs, and his wrist is blowing up
And I'm
red.
sweating
And
my
my dog
buns.
licked him right before he walked in here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's
Are you
alright.
good? Do you need anything?
No, I'm fine. I'll just I have my EpiPen, so my throat is closing right now. So
Shut up. What the fuck was I just saying?
yeah, frame rate.
Okay, so yeah, the frame rate. Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying, but also like.
It was like 3 times throughout the movie, but
Mhm.
but the fact that they were like 3 times,
But
and
so-
I noticed it each time. and
Sorry,
my
I've been
best
clicking
friend-
my pen in the microphone this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this down. But so it's interesting you say that because something like a fun movie fact about this that I know is that Miles is animated at 30 frames per second for most of the movie, or something like that. And but once he gets the black suit, like his Spider-Man suit, he's animated at 60.
Huh.
So
Is that intentional?
yes, it's to show like his development over. Which also, that's a good way to segue. Let's talk about the "What's Up, Danger" scene because
What was that scene again?
you know where when he first gets he finally gets his black and red suit and he jumps off the building.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he does like his
The
first
whole like leap of faith thing.
Yes,
That
I
was
guess that's a better way to describe it. The leap of faith scene. So I thought.
Yeah, the music was integrated really well, which
Mhm.
is sick too. Because each time they had like a meaningful moment in the movie, they had some great music to accompany it.
Yeah, and I think the "What's Up, Danger" scene does. Oh, that's another little nitpick. I'll poke at. We sound like we're picking this movie apart. We both really liked this movie a lot.
Yeah.
But so Miles has that really emotional talk with his dad through the door in
Yeah,
his
that was sad.
in his college
great.
dorm, and his dad says something to him.
No,
like,
it's not college. It's middle school.
it was high school.
No, I'm pretty sure it said middle. There was like a school. It said something middle.
It's the Visions Academy, something. I'm
Maybe
pretty
I'm
sure.
wrong.
95% sure.
All right. I just thought I saw the word middle somewhere.
Um,
Like that.
But he has that emotional talk with his dad through the door where his dad says something like, you're going to do great things.
I see that spark in you.
I see that, exactly.
That was
That's
amazing.
it. I see that spark in you and it's amazing. And then like 3 minutes later, he's on the side of the building about to jump off and he hears the voices in his head of Peter being like, it's a leap of faith. And then he hears his dad say the same thing we just heard him say. So I kind of felt like I was like, okay, I know he said that. Like
Yeah.
that was
we
not
get the point. He's gonna jump
that
off
was
the
not
roof.
long enough ago in the movie to be like.
Yeah.
I
But
didn't-
it was just like a montage of everything that like means something to him. So
No, I get it. I'm just
Also-
saying it was very quick after.
When was the scene? Oh, this was early in the movie. Remember, I thought this was really funny when he looked up at that. He was like reading the Spider-Man comics to see what to do because he just got the
Oh,
powers.
yeah.
He looked up at the building, walks all the way up, looks down, and he like breathes. And then you see him walk down the stairs and then look at the smaller. It's like okay. And then he goes
Yeah.
up that. That was really funny.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good stuff. Like I'm thinking about the part where he's reading the Spider-Man comic. And
Dude, that was like one of the best. Like the ending when he's like reading his own Spider.
no. I was talking about the part at the very beginning where he starts getting his powers.
Oh,
and
he's
he
like reading it.
He reading it. It's like stop sticking, please keep sticking. It's like exactly what he just did.
Yeah.
And it's like chronicling, which also a cute detail is that in that comic book they refer to Spider-Man as Billy because they don't know what his actual name is.
Huh.
So they're just calling him Billy in the pages of that comic book. Which I thought was a fun way to flesh out the universe because, like, yeah, you don't know what Spider-Man's name is, but if you're making comics about him, you got to give him some kind of name. Also, Peter B. Parker, I thought the design of everyone's suits was just top notch. Like, especially Miles' black suit at the very end.
Gwen's suit was
Gwen's suit was super cool too, and I really like. This isn't like the design isn't great or anything, but the idea to have Peter B. Parker's suit, like the pants rip off and he's wearing sweatpants.
That was funny.
It's just such a fun way to do that character.
It gives him like personality without.
Yep. Oh, you know what? I think my favorite joke in the movie is when Miles turns invisible for the first time, and he grabs the computer and the monitor, and Peter's trying to like signal to him like what the password is and everything, and then he runs out of and Miles is like, I'm just gonna take the whole thing, and he runs out the window, and like Spider-Man, he's like, okay, we don't need the monitor. I thought that was I don't know why I thought that was really funny for some reason.
Yeah, they had a lot of really funny parts.
Okay, and what do you think of Miles' extra 2 powers?
Invisibility and
the Venom Strike.
That's like the electric shock.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't really understand. I guess like it was the leap of faith that made him understand how to use it. But it was like that whole thing was a little bit too quick. I felt he went from not even knowing how those powers worked to immediately like getting it and being able to do it.
Yep.
Which I understand, like they kind of have to do that for time or whatever. But also there had to have been like some kind of learning curve. But I don't know. I wasn't too like I didn't care too much about that. I thought it was really cool though. I really liked those 2 powers.
Yeah.
They yeah, that's about it. I just really liked it.
they're comic accurate. He has those in the comic books, but I like there's a good amount of foreshadowing in the movie, which I really like.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
foreshadowing.
when the spider that bites Miles is crawling around, you can see it camouflaging to the can that it's on and stuff. So that's where he gets the invisibility from and stuff. And one of my favorites is when Miles sees the original Peter taking down Green Goblin. Peter does this crazy swing where he swings like up and around the whole thing and comes back down. And later in the movie, Miles replicates it. He does the exact same thing in the Collider.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, also when what's it called? Peter B. Parker does the thing where he like kicks Miles' feet and grabs him by like the collar or whatever and says like, "Do it, Venom strike me right now, turn invisible." Mm-hmm. And then at the end, Miles does the same exact thing to him and says, "I'll be okay," and then just throws him off and it's like, oh
yeah. It's a great resolution.
Also, one of my things about it, I thought that it was super cool that they just had the balls to kill the actual Spider-Man.
I was about to bring up Spider-Man's death scene is
we didn't
one
even
of
talk
my
about
favorites.
He straight up dies.
Yep.
Which, I guess it's not that big of a deal because they literally bring in 5 other Spider-Men.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, whatever. But it's still cool to see, like, they're just like, yeah, the main Spider-Man, the one you all like know and love,
he's dead. And it's also that Spider-Man was like the perfect version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He really had it all figured out. He was really
He's
friendly.
like, yeah, I'll train you, kid.
Yeah, immediately he's like, I'll train you, you're just like me, that kind of stuff. And then they kill him off and bring in Peter B. Parker. It's just a great way to do it. And Peter B. Parker is like, everything that's great about Peter Parker, the original, is life is what's terrible about Peter B. Parker. He's divorced from Mary Jane. Aunt May is dead. He doesn't have like a job, that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, and kind of to get towards the end of the movie here, like Miles' final swing through the city with his monologue over it, like you were saying with
when his comic book splashes on screen, and you're like, yeah, this is great.
Right.
Also, when he hugs his dad, that was probably one of my favorites.
As Spider-Man, when he hugs his dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was really, he was like on the phone call,
and
then he just hangs up, and then the next thing you know, Spider-Man is hugging him, and I'm like, oh, that's really sweet.
It's very sweet. And then he has this final narration where he's like, I didn't think I could do any of these things, but I can. And it's a great movie. It's you really see the journey that he goes on, and I think it's really good, and it's really funny. And if you're a comic book reader, there's a shit ton of Easter eggs and references and stuff that you'll get. Tommy knocked over the Jingle Bells. Yeah, so...
Also, my biggest thing about the movie, I don't know if you noticed this, but I realized this like halfway through, and it was kind of hard to unsee. they look like Fortnite. They look like exactly.
They
like
do not.
Yes, they do. They look exactly like Fortnite.
I can see it with Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, he looks exactly like the default Fortnite skin. You know the guy with the blonde hair?
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker. Let's see. You can't tell me this isn't Fortnite.
Okay, it's a little bit Fortnite.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I just thought it was like, wow. I mean, I don't think they intentionally.
I doubt it. They must have been animating it for fucking years.
Sony's really into victory royales over there. Well, if we're gonna conclude with this, I'd say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a victory royale for us.
Tommy!
Oh, it's a big spike. I see it. In the audio, I just dropped my phone, and the laptop's right next to it. And in the audio file, there's just this giant spike.
Yeah, it's on mine too. Okay, let's talk about a completely different superhero movie. So, spoilers are done, by the way. Welcome back, if you skipped the spoiler section. We're talking about Joker. This is a movie Tommy didn't like.
No, I mean, we're not talking about spoilers, then we'll do the same thing?
Yeah, no
Okay.
spoilers and then spoilers.
Okay. So I think it's a good comic book movie. If you're really into like the origins of comic book or whatever, it's cool, and I can appreciate it that way. But there's just a lot to not like about this movie, like a lot, and it's hard to talk about this without talking about spoilers. But I mean, I guess I could probably do it.
You could do it. So let me give you a couple things to go off of. So I kind of split my thoughts into pros and cons because I'm kind of smack dab the middle on this movie. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any means, but I also don't think it's the worst movie ever made. Joaquin, I think his performance carries so much of the movie.
Yeah, he's great.
Like the movie has honestly a god awful script, and the dialogue he's delivering is just terrible, and his performance is able to lift that up.
More negative thought.
Yeah, exactly. But his
never have. Wow, real amazing work they did there.
The way he's able to lift that kind of stuff up so it doesn't sound as terrible as you would think it does.
Yeah, my exact note was Phoenix was great, but I wasn't pissing my pants about how good he was. I think he was, like, obviously great, but there were, like, I don't know, there were things I read that were like, I knew from the first 30 seconds of the film that this was the best performance I ever saw. And, like, Jesus Christ, like, come on.
Well, I think the big problem with this movie is you attract a lot of people who are like, I only watch adult comic books movies.
Yeah.
You know, I watch The Dark Knight, and I watch Logan, and I watch Joker, and it's like these kind of immature comic book movies, which I like. So one of my biggest things in favor of Joker isn't really about the movie itself. I'm just really glad that DC has the balls to make a movie like this.
I agree. I think, even though I didn't like the execution of this movie, or message about this movie, or a lot about this movie, I think that this is cool because they're willing to make a comic book superhero movie that's more geared towards art and less towards, a consumer product.
Right.
They didn't. It just seems like they were like, yeah, let's just make this as, this is going to be a passion project.
Yeah.
And wasn't for me, but I like that they did it because that means that we're going to get more in the future, hopefully.
Well, and especially because it made $1 billion and it's R-rated.
Literally
which
made
is
$1 billion.
unheard of.
Yeah.
But
it's the highest grossing R-rated film.
Yeah. So this is, I think, a comic book movie that you just wouldn't see Marvel make.
No.
I'm not talking about like Fox Marvel or Sony Marvel. I'm talking about Disney Marvel.
No, and I like it too because I think that's cool because it draws a distinction towards DC and Marvel. Like, Marvel's going to be the classic superhero movies with the storylines and
Yeah.
cool characters, funny scripts, that kind of stuff. But I think it's cool if DC sticks to this, and we're gonna be like, yeah, we're just gonna make like really interesting films. They're gonna be a bit harder to.
Well, I don't even
but-
think it's like it's all that like. I don't think it's drawn like that. Like, I don't think it's mature versus like more superhero oriented. I think it's just DC being willing to go, hey, whichever director we hired for this, here's the keys to this property. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you see that with Shazam. You see that with Aquaman. You see that with Joker and Birds of Prey. I think DC's really just been letting their directors make like their movies first. Like, you know, a lot of Marvel movies, especially like Captain Marvel or your Far From Home or your, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they feel like they could be made by anyone.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, the more recent DC movies are very like, this is definitely a Todd Phillips movie. This is definitely a James Wan movie. And I like that, you know, maybe DC doesn't have this crazy extended connected universe, but they do have this more director-driven creative arena.
Yeah, it seems like DC is more about the movies in particular, and Marvel's more about the universe.
Yeah.
That they set up.
And, you know, pick your poison, you know.
Yeah.
I like both.
Yeah, both
you
are
know?
cool.
So, another thing, without getting into spoilers, the score, I think, also is one of those things like Joaquin himself that really makes this movie so much better than it should be on paper. And I think a lot of the aesthetic choices. So I really like the design for Joker's like final outfit. I like that he's.
It was eerie and weird.
Well, because you're expecting purple and green, and you don't
It's
get
like
purple
red
and green.
and
You
white.
get red and orange, and he's more traditional clown looking, and I like that design a lot. I think that was a smart choice to make it so distinct from what you're expecting, and not only that, but like the design of Gotham is really seedy. It's gross. It's like there's garbage everywhere.
It feels like, you know, literally the neglected part of this. You know, just feels so neglected. I have no other way to put it. It just feels like a neglected area.
Yeah.
With people that don't get the help they need.
But that's not to say there's, you know, this movie is Taxi Driver. It really is.
Yeah.
It's Taxi Driver. It's King of Comedy, and I guess
didn't see King of Comedy.
Right.
Did you?
I haven't either.
Alright.
I've just heard that it's really good. But basically, this movie is exactly what I expected from a Joker movie. Like, if you tell me someone's making an R-rated movie about the Joker, I'm like, okay, we're gonna watch his slow decline into insanity, blah blah
Yeah,
blah,
I can
and then in
relate.
the end he's gonna be like, ooh, big smile, and end credits, and it's kind of just, I don't know, it's just exactly what I expected from this type of movie, which, I don't know.
I mean, like, that's what I expect, but at the same time, that's probably, you know, that's probably the perfect things to do for a Joker movie. It needs to be dark.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see him go into insanity.
Yeah. I guess that, but
so
like,
I don't fault it. But I think I said, yeah, I think it's, yeah, like I said, it's dark, which is good for a Joker movie, but it feels more like a statement than a comic book movie, or even just a superhero movie or a Joker movie. It just feels like,
but I
you're
would say,
trying to say something.
I would say a statement that doesn't even have anything to say.
Yeah.
Which I'll get more into in spoilers, but okay, so also the dancing and the laughing, the decision to give him like a condition that makes him laugh. That's like
cool.
that. Cool decisions,
Yeah,
right?
I
I think both of those were fun new things to do. Like, you know, you weren't expecting it, but I think it works for the most part. Like, the dancing should be weird.
Like, I also felt really bad for him when he was on the stage and he just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's probably like nervous and that's what's setting it off.
Yeah.
And then he saw Murray make fun of him.
Right, yeah.
And then it's like, I felt bad for him. I genuinely felt bad for him.
Yeah, but basically to kind of wrap up our non-spoiler section here, unless you have more to say.
No, I said, I guess the other non-spoiler is that the soundtrack, I liked the choices of the songs. Like, there are a ton of songs in there that I liked. Like, I love Cream, so White Room was great to hear. I'm a big Sinatra fan. And there are a few other things, forget them off the top of my head. But I like the actual songs, but I don't think they were, like...
Properly integrated?
Yeah, they were not smooth at all. They kind of just, like, started and stopped. It felt like somebody... It kind of just felt like somebody had like an iPhone and was just playing them at random parts of the movie.
Okay, I see that.
With, like... I don't know, I'd like to talk about our favorite director, Quentin Tarantino. I think one of the things he does really well is like integrating music.
Yeah.
Whenever something happens and a song kicks into it, it's done so well. It is done so well. And this movie is not good, not very good at it. But still like the music choices, so can't,
Right.
So no Cadillac.
She will get the job done.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I feel like. Honestly, we said that as a joke, but that's kind of what I feel like about this movie. Like, if you're looking for, something to scratch your Joker itch, like if you just love the Joker as a character and you want content, like this is perfectly fine stuff, but it's just not groundbreaking enough for me to really love it.
Yeah, this is like a, let's say I need like a back scratcher from Target and I get one. It's gonna like do the job.
Right.
But, I might need a higher quality back scratcher.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a shitty message.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So spoilers from here on out.
So my biggest problem was it has such a bad representation of mental health.
Yep.
And I understand it's a Joker movie, but such a big focal point is mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally why he goes into insanity. And the fact of the matter is, like, mental health isn't all negative.
Right.
A lot, like, it can feel like that at times, but it's just not. And that's what this movie portrays. It portrays mental health as such a, like, thing that destroys every part of your life. And it's like, no, like, it manifests itself in such different ways for so many different people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't like that. I feel like Joker was trying to be like, yeah, guys, us people with mental illnesses should empathize with Joker. I got a little bit of that, not entirely, but a little bit.
I don't know if I got that much. So it's a super slippery slope because, so let's talk about comic books for a minute. The comic book Joker origin is that he's a not origin because he doesn't really have a concrete origin, but his most accepted origin is that he was a completely sane dude who fell into a vat of chemicals and went insane.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that in a movie like this. So to say that a person would become the Joker from like one bad day, you kind of have to have some kind of mental illness going on, and it's such a slippery slope.
And the thing is, like, when I was, because I don't want to be like, I was reading the comments, but like a lot of the things I saw was like people like were comparing like depression and like anxieties and at the end of the day, the Joker does not. He probably is depressed, but what he's dealing with is like insanely bad like psychosis and like mania. He is like not a stable person.
Yeah.
In the same way that many other people who deal with mental illnesses are.
Right.
Like, it doesn't feel stable, but at the end of the day, we are much more stable than Joker. And it's like he's a fictional character at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was just really upset with how they portrayed mental health, I think. But at the same time, it's like, it's really, really hard. I think I wrote this in my Letterboxd review that you had to walk such a fine line to represent mental health well. But, and they don't do it well. But at the end of the day, I can't like fault them too hard because it's such a hard thing to do. I can think of one movie. It's a movie called End of Evangelion, and that represents it really well. It's because it comes to like universal truths at the end of the day.
Yep.
And it says like it's not the best thing in the world, but like these are things we need to accept. And I think it has a really good thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's my spiel. I just didn't appreciate.
I agree with you, but in service of the character of the Joker, it's so hard not to do that.
Yeah.
I'm so torn in the middle because it is kind of annoying that the message of the movie is like, oh, Joker stops taking his medication and he goes full Joker mode. You know, it's like, all right, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that either. I could say what I did like was his physical condition with the laughing and how that was portrayed.
Yeah.
And how that was something he had to make clear to people, and it caused him constant difficulty in the comedy club and on the bus when he just starts laughing and like everyone's like looking at him funny, but he can't help it.
Yeah.
You know?
That was a really good portrayal of it because it's like that's something he can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there were certain parts of it where they overemphasized like how bad society actually is.
That's okay. So that's all right. Let's get into my big thing, right?
Yeah.
This movie has nothing to say.
It really doesn't.
It like almost commits to a few things because there's a couple things where it's like they hint at the fact that like people don't take mental health serious enough.
And that's true.
That is
like,
true, and that's a good kind of maybe message to have, you know.
But how they go about it, they could have definitely said that message in a better way.
But they don't even say the message. What
Yeah,
I mean is
they
like they
also
have
don't.
all these elements that they want to make the theme of the movie, and they don't commit to any of them. So you have the you know, rich people don't care about the poor people thing. You have the mental health thing. You have, you know, the Arthur's like history of abuse and everything. And what the movie seems like it wants to say is that, you know, we should be paying attention to our poor and our less
we need
fortunate.
to treat each other better.
But what it really says is like, it doesn't say anything. But like what it almost says is like, as a result of the shittiness that Arthur goes through, he becomes like this icon and this like hero to like the people of Gotham and creates this like uprising. So it seems like there's just it's what do you want to say?
It says I feel like it said like the Joker is a result of society and not a result of his condition. Which I guess there's truth to both. Who knows if the Joker would have become the Joker if he wasn't, you know, treated like that by Murray and all those people.
But the
at the same time, like, if he didn't have like insane psychosis,
right,
and you know he actually got good help by the right people.
I think the
who knows
problem
what would
is
happen.
like the big problem is they're like society bad, rich don't care about poor, but they don't do enough to show it. They
kind of just show
they do
rich
a little
people
bit
saying,
it's
I
like,
don't care about poor people, and that's it.
well, it's like
That's
Thomas Wayne, right? So you have Thomas Wayne as a character in the movie, and he punches Arthur in the face at one point.
Yeah.
And I guess you're supposed to feel bad for, and I do feel bad for Arthur in some ways.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, as much as I didn't like the message, there were many times where I just felt that's probably
sympathetic for Arthur.
I felt super sympathetic for him, which was probably one of the things I liked.
Yeah.
He was as much of like a, you know, scary person that he turned out to be. I definitely felt sympathetic for him because he just wants to be happy.
But what I mean is like he decks Arthur in the face, and you're like, oh, that sucks. But then you're also like, he did put his like fingers in his son's mouth the day before. So like, they're not treating it like Thomas Wayne is ignoring Arthur. More so, Thomas Wayne is threatened by Arthur now as a result of what he did the day before, and it's like you're not. I don't know. You're just not conveying the right stuff.
Yeah, they don't. The thing is, like, they convey so many. They, like you said, they say so many things without actually going through with it.
Yeah.
Like, they say rich is bad, all this stuff, but they don't. Like, sure, Wayne was an asshole, or whoever it was, for punching Arthur in the face, or whatever it was.
That was Thomas.
But at the same time, like, Arthur doesn't do anything to prove why he's innocent. Like,
No.
he also stuck his fingers in his face. He, like, killed 3 men.
Right.
Who were, admittedly terrible people.
Which is a
They're
part of
about
the
to-
movie I like a lot.
I think that scene was cool.
When he kills them in self-defense, but then he hunts down the last guy
Yeah.
and kills him.
I think it's, like, at the end of the day, Arthur isn't completely innocent.
No.
And that's why I think it's hard for me to agree with, like,
And I think
this message.
That's a tricky thing about doing a movie about a supervillain in the first place, especially a character like the Joker, because the reason the Joker is like hardly ever given an origin is because how do you make up for what this guy has done now? You know, Heath Ledger's Joker, you never know where he came from, and I think that makes him a more effective villain, because if you know where he came from, it's I don't know. He's less interesting. He's less of a threat. And doing a Joker origin story like this, now you're kind of painting, this is the reason why someone would go insane. This is the reason why someone would do as bad of things as the Joker has done. And I guess if they wanted to really go through and hammer the themes home, okay, so here it is. So, I think that making it so, like, society made him into the Joker is fine. My problem is, like, Arthur, I never feel like fully transforms into the Joker. He's never, like, he always just kind of feels like Arthur with makeup on.
Yeah.
And I get that some of that's intentional, and this is also coming from a fucking guy who's read and seen a lot of Joker stuff. He's not threatening as the Joker. I don't feel like he's as intelligent as the Joker is. And I think doing that stuff would make the kind of issues that the movie's trying to tackle a lot more pervasive, if you have it so that he becomes this huge threat against society instead of just becoming this a guy. He kills like maybe 5 people total. Yeah, something like that. But
3 to 4, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. But like it doesn't feel like I was never like, oh, this is like the birth of a legend.
No. Yeah.
I just felt like this is still just like kind of a guy who's had a tough go of it. And I never felt like he was like this new threatening presence.
I do think part of it is to have like this fully fledged Joker, you kind of need some sort of like you need like part of it is you need like Batman too.
Yep.
But also part of it is like you need him to have this whole crime set up. You need him to be like, I've poisoned the water supply. Something like that. All he did was shoot a guy on TV.
Well, that's the thing. Think about the Joker in the Dark Knight movie. I'm assuming you've seen.
Yes. Yep.
So, the Joker in that sets up the social experiment with these 2 boats, and people on this boat can blow up the other boat in order to save themselves, and the people in that boat could blow up the other boat to save themselves. It kind of creates this I guess kind of trolley problem kind of thing, and it's a really threatening part of the movie because what the Joker is about is he's interested in what sane people think of just issues in general, because he doesn't think that way.
Yeah.
And he's smart. He's a brilliant person, but he doesn't understand empathy. So he can set up these social. Oh wait, didn't we do a project on this in high school?
Did we?
Were you in my group?
Or what?
In Mr. You-know's class.
Yeah.
We did.
No, what was the project? I just tuned out.
We had to do a project on the ferry situation in the Dark Knight. Weren't you in my group?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember with fruit snacks?
Yeah, we had to decide who gets it.
Who gets fruit snack? So, but I don't feel like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker would ever become that.
No, he's not diabolical. I think that's probably the perfect word, diabolical.
Yeah.
This Joker does not seem diabolical.
And he's not threatening, and I don't think he's intelligent enough to set up something like that.
Yeah, it's a dark origin story, and you can see why this guy turns that way.
Yep.
But that's the thing. He just doesn't seem diabolical, which I think
goes a long way. And
that is one of the big things about Joker that even before seeing Dark Knight, I knew that the Joker was this guy who came with these crazy plans and did things to the city that threatened everybody, and it's that. This Joker doesn't seem like that. He just seemed like he created an uprising.
Right.
And that's it.
And can I also talk about, do we have to see fucking Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered again? Why do we have to see this all the fucking time?
Well, the moment I saw that alleyway, I'm like, yep, that's what's happening. I just knew.
We've seen it in the original Michael Keaton movies. We saw it in the Nolan movies. We saw it recently in Batman vs. Superman. Now we're seeing it fucking again. And it's like, this movie, the whole pitch of this movie was that it's a Joker movie set apart. Like, it's not tying into anything. He's not going to fight Batman. That kind of thing. And then you put that in at the end, it's like, why? You know? And that's the last thing he thinks of, right? In the movies, he's like, I'm thinking of something. You wouldn't get it. You know, and he thinks of Bruce Wayne kneeling over his dead parents. I don't feel like this is a Joker that would ever go toe-to-toe with Batman.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of... Oh, like Heath Ledger, like the way the Heath Ledger Joker was, like, obviously he went toe-to-toe with Batman, but he was someone that fit really well as, like, a person that could go toe-to-toe with Batman. And I agree, this isn't a Joker that I could see, you know, doing the things that Heath Ledger's Joker did.
Yeah, no,
also,
I agree.
They're different. They're great for different
reasons.
Yeah,
so also,
but
I don't mean to keep comparing him to Heath Ledger, right? Because they
we're
both
comparing the characters,
right?
With the fact that they're both Joker.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to
Not
it comes off as if we're comparing Joaquin to Heath Ledger, but really just comparing Joker's Joker to Dark Knight's Joker.
Right, exactly. But I also want to say, like, if you love this movie, like, fucking go for it. You know,
yeah,
like,
I
more
can see
power
why
to
people
you.
like it.
And like, there's gonna be a lot of times on this podcast where we're gonna have terrible fucking opinions. We've already had really terrible opinions.
Yeah.
And if that's gonna bother you, then like maybe don't listen to other people's opinions on anything.
Yeah, like this isn't something to look at and be like, oh God, I hate these two
2 idiots in a shed.
Yeah, we were in a hot shed and we were talking about a movie. There's not much. It's not much deeper than that. If you didn't like it, just say, hey, I disagree, and this is why I disagree.
And it's also like
I'd probably like to engage in a discussion about it. If you thought that this movie was a good representation of mental illness, I would love to hear it. Like, I would love to have a discussion about it.
And also like,
and I'd love to know why. Like, but I just personally seeing it, I didn't think so.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with all of this. Tommy and I are gonna disagree sometimes, and
yeah, it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah,
we disagree a lot, which is surprising because we haven't had many disagreements yet.
So, okay, 2 more quick things on this movie. But yeah, basically to wrap up my last point, if you love this movie, that's awesome. Like, I'm super happy for you. If you hate this movie, fucking more power to you. You're great too. If you're somewhere in the middle like me, like, also great. You can have like opinions on anything you want in any variety you want, as long as you're respectful of other people maybe not sharing the same opinion.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I guess this movie is somewhat divisive.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like take a step back. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
It's just there for us to enjoy.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, I don't really care that deeply. I just didn't like it. Wasn't for me. So it's not like we're making these grand statements that are gonna have consequences in the cosmic universe. It's just like, it's
we're
just
2 dudes arguing about a clown movie in a shed.
In a hot shed.
In a hot shed. So 2 more.
Clown movie. That makes it so much better. A clown movie.
2 more notes on this movie. So let's talk about the ending. It's okay. So you kind of have this ambiguous ending.
He's not just gonna kill himself.
Right. Is he dreaming? Is he not? Was it all in his head? Was this in his head? No, I don't think any of it was in his fucking head. I think it all happened, and the movie at the last minute was like, what if we made people think? None of it happened. Like, no movie, I don't think you're that smart. Like, it just felt like they tagged that on at the last second to be like, oh, maybe none of it happened. Maybe it all happened. Maybe half of it happened.
Yeah, the problem is, I actually thought the ending was, like, kind of cool. I like that they did that, but now hearing what you're saying, I think if they were gonna go full-fledged with that thing, like, oh, did it happen, did it not, they should have had some kind of setup. I mean, I guess they did with him, not like
and the girlfriend.
Yeah, that's some setup, but it should have been a little bit more.
Yeah. Definitely agree.
It felt like, I don't know, I liked it that he was like, oh, I'm thinking of a joke, you wouldn't get it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Sure.
Then he walks out and
the bloody footprints and that stuff's good.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was a cool ending.
I think there's a lot of cool stuff. So I like the scene where he's dancing down the stairs. I like the scene where he interrogates the his friend from the clown college, clown business.
Camp. Oh my god, dude! I have a story. One time, I was playing soccer like when I was younger, and a few friends and I we went to like a restaurant afterwards, and I guess my three friends like all had to go to the bathroom, so they went in the bathroom, and they met this kid there, and one of them was just like, he was like gaslighting the kid, and he was just like he was pretending to like know him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what's up, John?" And then he's like, oh, I guess his name was John. Like, he got it right, and he's like the kid who they were like talking to. Apparently, like he like went to clown camp, and then so our friend was like, yeah, like, oh yeah, I was there too, and he like started pretending that they both went to clown camp.
Oh my god!
And then later they came back and they're like all laughing or whatever. And then this kid who's in the restaurant, he comes over with his mom, and he's like, "This is Bola from clown camp." And then he, the kid we were with, he's like, "I'm sorry, do I know you?" And it was so funny.
And then he was like, "Damn, we do be living in a society."
Yeah. And then he turned into the Joker.
And then he went on the Murray Franklin show. Which, okay, my final kind of piece on this, right? When he's on the Murray Franklin show and he's just spouting, "This is why I became the Joker. Society forced my hand. You would step all over." Yeah, I know. Like, we just watched this for 2 hours. I feel like they were spelling out the entire themes of the movie in, like, one take. He has this whole monologue where he's just talking to Murray and being like, "You're fucked. You're all stupid. I hate you all. I'm the Joker now." And what did I watch the other hour and 50 minutes for if you're just going to spell it out right here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I killed those 3 people.
Right, exactly. But... And then he kills Murray Franklin, and it's like, okay, whatever. And then he dances in front of the camera, and then there's a car accident, and he rises, and he does the smile thing, and it's like, I don't know. That part really pissed me off because I was like, it was really treating the audience like they're dumb. Like,
I didn't get that, but I can see why you say that. It just felt like, it felt more like a reveal to me. I just wish. If they made that moment when he was on the show as the moment where he became the Joker, maybe he like, would have been really cool. What if he set up like this whole trap that like endangered the whole audience? And he's like, "I will kill everybody here if I get $1 billion," something like that like also would have made sense for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Sure.
But instead, he kind of just sits there on the show and talks about why society hates him.
That's what I mean.
And it's like, oh, they could have really done something cool there with his Joker reveal.
Well, that's the thing,
when
the curtains open and he's like dancing and he's like, I'm like, ooh, like something juicy's about to go down. And then nothing happens. He doesn't really do anything that's all that. Well, I mean, it's crazy, obviously.
So it's a pretty good knock-knock joke.
Oh, that's true.
And then he was like, "That's not okay."
Hey, that's not funny. Yeah, so, alright, final thoughts.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, but only because...
Hey, look, I still think it's a good comic book movie.
Sure.
Thumbs down.
But, no, I get it. I get why people hate this movie, and I get why people like this movie. Ultimately, I enjoyed it the last couple times I watched it, and I'm really only giving it a thumbs up for Joaquin. Because...
It's great.
He's a good actor, and I think the design of Gotham is great. Some of the ideas they come up with for the Joker are great, and
yeah, Gotham is really cool.
I think a lot of the surface level Joker stuff is super cool.
There's a lot going for this film.
Yeah. My biggest problem is the fact the movie itself doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying. And what we say is completely right, and you're not allowed to disagree. Yeah. So, okay.
Joker is canceled.
Here's the tea. Yeah. All right, let's do you have any recommendations for people? And then we can wrap this up.
Maybe.
I have 3.
Yeah, you give yours.
So, I'm going to give you 2 superhero recommendations and a non-superhero recommendation. Harley Quinn on HBO Max just finished season 2, and it's quite a funny show. If you like DC stuff, there's a lot of meta meta jokes, meta commentary on the franchise as a whole, and it's a pretty damn good adaptation of most of the characters. They're not all joke machines, but they're all very humorous, and a lot of their humor comes from them being themselves, and it's really funny.
Okay, so I got one.
Yep.
There's a movie called Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
1993 movie. I think Tom Hanks might have won Best Actor in it. It's actually a good movie because we're talking about, like, I think this is a movie where an example of how society treats people is shown really well, and it's about this guy's gay.
Yeah.
He gets AIDS, and his law firm fires him because he has AIDS, but they say it's for a different reason, and he knows because he's like the best lawyer they have. So he goes to Denzel Washington, who's also a lawyer, and says, "This is fucked up. Like, we got to do something about this." And you can see throughout the movie that some of it was about the fact that he had AIDS, but a lot of it was about the fact that he was just a gay guy.
Yeah.
And they do a really, really good job about showing how society treats gay people. And I really liked it.
Good stuff.
Really good.
I've also got Doom Patrol here. Another superhero thing. If you like Guardians of the Galaxy and you like X-Men, I think you'll really enjoy Doom Patrol. It's a story about a ragtag group of misfits who were all in horrible accidents, and as a result, they got superpowers, and their superpowers kind of suck ass, and it's a lot of them dealing with that. It's some of the best writing and directing, and it's just a really great, funny, comic booky, great show. I think if you like superheroes at all, I think you'd enjoy Doom Patrol.
Nice.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, my second one is Burning. We're going to talk about it soon. I really liked it. I thought it was a bit slow starting out, but there's some really interesting stuff there, and I'm going to watch it a second time because we're going to talk about it on the podcast.
Yep.
And I'm really excited to watch it because I really liked it the first time I saw it. South Korean film. Steven Yeun, you know him. He's Glenn from Walking Dead.
Yes, he is.
And he's in it. He's one of the main characters. And I just thought it was a great movie.
Yeah. My last one here I just watched, not superhero related. Peanut Butter Falcon. It just came on Hulu. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you really liked it.
It's a really good movie about a young man with Down syndrome and his kind of journey in finding a new family, and it's a really good commentary on people with Down syndrome. It's not, it's not a sad story. It's not like, he isn't, treated, well, he's treated differently, but they shine a really positive light on it, and they use it to their advantage a lot. And he, obviously the kid with Down syndrome is played by an actual actor with Down syndrome who does a great job in that role. And Shia LaBeouf is in it, and he's great as well. So if you like really wholesome, uplifting movies that also have something really nice to say, I would check it out.
And then my final movie is The Naked Gun. It's really hilarious. Has Leslie Nielsen in it. We talked about him. It's just great. It's so funny. If you like Airplane, we're going to have to do an episode on Airplane sometime.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Maybe we could do Airplane and then Naked Gun too. That'd be really fun.
We could.
Naked Gun is really funny. It's just like absurd humor, and it holds up so well.
Yeah.
It's probably like the only Naked Guns, and Airplane. Those are like the two off the top of my head of comedy movies that I love.
Yeah.
Most other comedy movies just aren't funny. They're really not.
Yeah.
And Naked Gun's great, so check it out.
Great stuff. Thanks for listening.
All right, now let's go back into society.
Yeah, let's get back out there into society.
Out of this hot shit.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of this hot shit. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.